Good morning. My name is Robert Heidt, President and CEO of the Glendale Chamber, and I'm here for Good Morning Glendale. And today we have Stephen Herring from Republic Services who's joined us. Welcome. How are you, my friend?
Hey, thank you, Robert. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you for joining us. So first, start off, for those that may not know who you are or a little bit about you, would you share a little bit about yourself with us?
Okay, yeah, for sure. So my name's Stephen Herring. I'm born and raised from Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri. You can probably see the poster behind me, repping the hometown. But grew up out there, went to college in Missouri as well, and then started working for Republic Services. I moved out to Phoenix about 3 years ago, and with Republic Services, so got a new opportunity to come out here. But you know, as an individual, I like to golf, like to play music. You can probably see microphones behind me. I don't have a cool background, but yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Nice. Well, it's a big change, obviously, from St. Louis, which is an amazing city, to Phoenix. So they're back there shoveling snow sometimes, and we're enjoying our heat at other times. So.
It's a dry heat, though.
That's right. Now, how long have you been with Republic Services? About coming up on 8 years now?
8 years, yes.
Congratulations. So
thank you.
You've been with them not as long as I've been here at the Glendale Chamber. So
excellent. Congratulations to yourself.
No, thank you. And thanks to Republic Services for being a longtime partner and member of the Chamber. You know, you're deeply involved in the communities that you serve across the nation. You've got a global brand in that sense. I think people see the trucks, they see your logo. Tell people who don't really know. I mean, you've got the waste and then the recyclables, but what does that mean? Tell them what it is Republic Services does on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we do everything related to recycling and trash services. So from a residential standpoint, we would service the carts, like the carts you push out to the curb every day. Some municipalities do that services themselves, and other municipalities contract that services out to a company like Republic Services. From a business standpoint, we have a few different options, right? There's front load dumpsters like what you'd see at a grocery store or kind of maybe a smaller business, and they're varying different sizes. Larger businesses and construction sites may utilize larger roll-off dumpsters. That's just what we call them, but they're the open top, longer dumpsters. And then we also have compactor services as well for the warehouses, very busy locations, some restaurants as well. And then I mentioned some municipalities haul their own material. We also are involved in the post-collection piece. So we have transfer stations all across the valley. Those are logistic points that allow for efficient emptying of those trucks so they can get back on route. We also have landfills and recycling centers. So from every step of the way, from collection all the way to ensuring safe and environmentally responsible processing, we're there.
It's definitely, you know, and so I'll say trash, you know, because we get rid of things as people, as businesses, and we don't really think about it once it goes out our door. But there is a team of people that, you know, this is what they do to keep our life going. So when you mentioned the ones on construction sites, those long dumpsters, as a chamber, we get excited when we see those because then commerce is happening, you know, new businesses coming, that sort of thing. I love the fact that you as a company work and partner with municipalities. And I know years ago where I grew up back on the East Coast, it seemed like more cities did their own trash, but I think more and more cities are looking to key partners like yourself to partner with. And we applaud that. We love when there's those private public partnerships where, you know, cities look to work with a company like yours to provide those services. Not to say that they haven't done a good job up until then, but you know, it's nice when, you know, it puts it into the private sector and does some great work within the communities. It gives jobs and allows them to focus in some other areas. So we always love to see that, and a lot of the businesses use you guys as well.
And that's a great point. And a lot of the municipalities that do service themselves do an excellent job. And we're not here to say anything bad about that, right? But you know, we pride ourselves on the public-private partnerships as well. And any opportunity we have to expand those partnerships, we're always interested in.
So in our again, we're Glendale, we're West Valley, but in the Phoenix metro area, about how many people total are part of the public services team?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So Republic is unique to this market, being that our corporate headquarters is actually in Phoenix. So we're one of the largest publicly traded companies that exists in this state. Our headquarters is off of Scottsdale Road in Mayo, just in the northern part of Phoenix. So we employ a lot more people here than we would in other markets. Just on the corporate side, I believe we're just over 2,000 employees. And then we have
Wow.
three business units. We have a north, east, and south. And that covers the entirety of the Phoenix Valley, all 22 municipalities. And they employ another, I would say 450 to 500. And then we have a call center in Chandler. And that location employs about 500 people as well. So
It's
what is
amazing.
that?
You're definitely an economic driver in our region, in our community. So thank you for that.
Of course, of course. My math is, I'm trying to do it quickly, and I think that's just over 3,000 employees or so. So
That's
yeah.
amazing. We thank you. We thank you and your entire leadership team for continue to do business here in the Phoenix metro area. Your headquarters is here in our community, so we love to see that. You're known for an industry leader. One of the things that I always like to see is you do a really good job with a comprehensive sustainability report yearly, and I know you are very proud of that. So what happens to the average person who's sitting here watching today going, I put my trash out, and they don't get excited unless the trash doesn't get picked up. Where does it go? What happens to all that? How do we know, where it goes from when it leaves that dumpster or it leaves our business or residence? What happens to all the stuff that we discard of?
Yeah. So that's a great question, and it's something that I'm sure the average person probably never thinks about. You put your material out, it gets picked up, and then you wheel your empty container back in and start over again, right? So it's going to vary where it goes on geography and then whom the municipality partners with. I can speak from Republic Services side of things. So if you have Republic, this would be accurate. Well, it's still going to vary on geography. So let's narrow it down even further. Let's talk Glendale. So if you use Republic Services in Glendale, your trash would be going to our landfill in Buckeye. It's off of the SR 85. And then recyclables would go to North Phoenix Gateway, which is a City of Phoenix facility that Republic Services operates. To see something like that in action, we actually have pretty comprehensive videos of both landfill operations as well as recycling facilities and the sorting sites. I think the video is our location in Plano, Texas. So it's not the Phoenix site, but the general operations of the facility is about the same. You can go to recyclingsimplified.com, and all of those resources exist for free. They're on that website, and hopefully more people get excited about where their material goes.
Well, I think it's one of those things as people, we're starting to become more aware of our environment. There's certainly things that we're always focused on. So talking about recycling, I think there's always confusion. What do I recycle? What do I not recycle? What would you say are the top few things to give us a couple of hints about recycling that, the average person makes a mistake on? Because, I used to years ago think when I ordered a pizza and threw it in the recycle bin, you don't do that. That, from my understanding, has the grease on it. You got to get it in the other bucket. So, what are some of those thoughts around recycling that are maybe the misnomers that we need to be reminded of from time to time?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And a lot of the mistakes that we make on recycling, they come from a good place. It's the intention and the excitement of wanting to recycle everything you possibly can. So when you look at something like a garden hose, you're like, okay, that's plastic. It's got metal. Both of those things are recyclable. I'm going to put that hose in the recycle bin. Well, something like that comes to the recycling facility. It gets wrapped up on all of the sorting equipment and can actually shut down the entire facility for hours. So it's really important to pay attention to what you're putting in the bin. So first, let's focus on what you should put in your recycle bin, and then I'll kind of tell you some of the, dare I say, fun things that come to the facility. So the things that you want to put in your bin is very simple. You want to put paper, you want to put cardboard, plastic containers, and metal containers. If you narrow your material that goes in the bin to those 4 items, you will not make a mistake. Those are all going to be recyclable. They're going to be recovered. They're going to be made into new products all day long. When you start getting into what we call wish cycling, that's that intention of wanting to put stuff in your recycle bin that you just hope should be recyclable. A lot of stuff we get is like plastic toys. So think about if you have kids, maybe the wheel falls off a plastic Fisher-Price bike, right?
Okay.
So you think that thing is recyclable, it's plastic, like great, let's put it in the bin. Well, it actually has a lot of metal, and when metal and plastic are mixed together, it can't be sorted as either plastic or metal because it's not a pure material, right? So some of the other stuff we would get is like plastic wrap. So I mentioned plastic containers. When you talk about plastic bags and plastic wrap, like if you buy paper towels, they come in a wrap, or the bags you get from a grocery store, those have the same effect as the garden hose example that I said. So they get wrapped up, and throughout the course of the day, probably shutting the facility down at least 2 times just to cut off bags and plastic wrap.
And that's got to be hectic for your team when they're rocking and rolling and they're kind of chumming along, and then all of a sudden it's like, my gosh, it goes in.
Oh yeah,
it's one of those things that I think we always have to be reminded of. When you talk about those plastic bags, I think more and more of us, when we use those, when we don't use recyclable bags, through COVID, a lot of that stuff was limited. You couldn't bring in your own bags, so you were forced to use some of the paper and plastic. But grocery stores, I know, are really good about taking those plastic bags back in, and you can recycle separately. So I think some of it is just being aware that everything can't go into the one bucket in hopes, like you said, or wishful thinking that your folks are just going to magically make it all get, repurposed in some way.
And that's a really good point that I didn't mention. So thank you for bringing it up. There is homes for a lot of the material that can't be recycled in your traditional bin. You mentioned the plastic bags. That's a great example. That material goes back to the grocery stores or department stores that you got the bag from. And then most of them have a collection box somewhere near the entrance. You can drop it in. Some of the uses of that material after it gets recycled, so you've probably heard of the composite lumber. So like there's a company called Trex that's kind of known for that. It's plastic bags that get stretched out and combined with sawdust and then coated. So that's your synthetic lumber. Yeah. So pretty cool.
So of your time there, what's probably been the most odd, obscure things that you maybe heard or seen that people have tried to recycle? So that way we know, what we shouldn't be doing.
Well, so I would say that some of the larger offenders, I guess, would be the large dumpsters, because there's more space to make mistakes. And primarily my role in St. Louis was on the recycling side and the education piece. So this example is from St. Louis, full disclosure. But it was, we got one of those bear claw bathtubs. So it's fully metal. It's like a cast iron with the feet that look like bear claws. Yeah. One of those came through, and it got picked up, put into the machine, and then the first opportunity it had to drop, it made a nice sound. The machine, one of the employees hit their lever to shut the machine down, and it took like 4 or 5 people to get it off of the line.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And some of the, if I could just mention the pool chemicals and the containers that those come in, please make sure that you don't put them in, even though they are plastic. Those can contribute, when they're compacted, they can lead to sparks and some small fires. So we want to avoid that whenever possible.
What about another one? I've heard this. So, you're at home, you've done, through COVID, a lot of people did home improvement projects. You were bored, you had to find things to do. You paint. And so then the paint can is dried up. From my understanding, you do not put that dried up paint can in the recycle bin. Is that what you all recommend? Whereas opposed that should go into the regular trash bucket? Yeah,
that's correct. And the reason that's not listed as an acceptable item is because there's usually like 99.9% of the time there's going to be paint remnants. And all this material is going through moving parts, it's bouncing off of gears, and then it ultimately gets compacted. and that paint is going to end up contaminating everything it touches. So we would ask that if you have paint, first dry it. So either remove the lid or fill it with sand or kitty litter, and then put the lid on it and just put it in your regular trash. That would be the best practice for paint. If you have municipalities often will put on household hazardous waste drives. In most cases, that paint's going to be accepted at those drives too. So if you do not want to put it in the trash, you can take it to a HHW drive. There's also going to be some possible donation avenues if you have full cans.
Yeah, no, that it's good stuff. I think, like you said, we all are wishful that everything just magically happens when it leaves our curb or leaves our place of business, that you have like these, magical ways of just repurposing everything. And we know that's not the case. But
right.
So I'm a business here in Glendale and I am new to the community. If I don't have services set up, how easy is it for a business to get services set up with you all?
It's really easy. Oftentimes the businesses that have trash service have a contract. So it's important to know the terms of that contract before contacting another vendor. But assuming you're in line with your timing of when you can get out, it's a very quick process. We can switch in as little as 5 days. But what you do is just call Republic Services. Just a simple Google search will give you that email, or if you go to the Glendale Chamber website, we're listed as a company there, and you can contact us directly. And make sure you let them know you're a part of the Glendale Chamber and that you'd like to speak to a sales representative, because we will tweak our pricing for chamber members.
Nice. Well, we appreciate that, and I know our members do. So when there's a little added bonus in for pricing.
Of course.
So quick question. I don't want to keep you all day. I know you probably have a million and one things to do. We're hopefully on the tail end of COVID we're coming out of. How has that changed your business in the way you all are operating today, as opposed to, I'm going to say, a year and a half ago, because we can't quite say a year ago anymore, but probably a year and a half ago, things seem much different than they are today for you guys.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's had a major impact. So from a collection side of things, we saw residential trash get heavier and more excessive than it's ever been. And a lot of that is because everyone was eating at home. You're eating at home instead of going to a restaurant, or you're ordering stuff off Amazon to do a little project at home. So we saw the trash go up quite a bit. We saw commercial trash decrease, and that's for the same reasons. People were just at home. From a company standpoint, we followed the CDC guidelines to a T. We did everything we can possibly do to ensure that our offices and touch points with the employees are reducing any sort of touch point between people, wearing gloves where possible, other PPE, and then the trucks themselves got cleaned out upon entry and exit daily. So we feel we did a really nice job. We hope that we are coming out of this, but as of today, we're still enforcing all policies related to COVID.
Well, we appreciate that, and we commend you all for being, again, you're an industry leader in many ways, but an industry leader with trying to take care of things with COVID to keep your folks safe, but then be able to still serve our community, because, we heard a lot about our healthcare workers, which we couldn't do without, but you have essential workers as well.
Absolutely.
And so we're grateful to those folks that got up every day when they might have been a little afraid of what was going on, of the unknown, but still got out there and had to take care of trash. So the one thing is, you'll get the pulse first on the return of commercial dumpster usage versus residential, because you'll probably start to see that trend before some of us do, just in the way the pickups go. So keep us posted as you see the commercial side filling up faster than the residential side.
Yeah.
That'll tell us that we're getting even closer and closer back to whatever that new normal may be for us.
Mm-hmm.
I
Exactly.
can't thank you enough.
I will.
Say that again.
I definitely will keep you posted on that.
Awesome. I can't thank you enough for your support here at the Chamber, the support of all the folks and things that you do to employ them here in our region. I know you all give back a lot in the Toronto communities that you serve. Is there anything that I didn't ask you about today that you want to share related to Republic Services with anyone?
No, I think we've covered everything. I would just encourage everyone to go to recyclingsimplified.com and really just take a look at what is accepted. This will be true across the valley. Now, some municipalities and other haulers may take additional items. But again, if you follow the 4 core items of paper, cardboard, plastic containers, and metal containers, those are always going to be recyclable and recycled.
Nice, that's a good tip. We'll work to get that out to our members as well, because while they may be business owners, entrepreneurs, they also employ a lot of people. So anything we can do to help be a part of that, constant communication out, don't ever hesitate to let us know.
Great, yeah, I definitely will.
All right, well, with that, thank you so much for spending some time with us this morning. And for everyone at home, we will see you next time on Good Morning Glendale. Have a great day.
Great, thank you, Robert.
Thank you. Hold on 1 second, we got,
Okay.
and stop recording here.